Hey, so there is like a 9 second buffer period now. So oh, you're muted.
I was like, are we live yet? How about now? How about now? Are we live yet? There we are. Yeah. No, the tech gremlins that we had the last week of the August 80K, I was just like, oh my beep and beep and beep and beep. And it is really humid in Virginia Beach this morning, and it is overcast and it is foggy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yep, yep. We had a storm, and I didn't realize that our little cherry tree had fallen behind my car. Because
Oh
whenever I look out the window from the living room, the car hides it.
no.
So the neighbor came over and cut it because, yeah, I honestly didn't realize it. But yeah, no cherries. Uh,
I I have multiple pear trees that I have planted over the years in Colorado. And
mhm.
every time they freaking flower, we get hail.
Yep.
So, of all of my pear trees, I have two pears hanging out on the backside of one tree.
Oh
And I'm like,
no.
and I'm like, the daughter was saying, yeah, we got some really bad wind and hail. And I was like, when I get home, will my pears be there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't
So,
know. Don't know. We have a Mel and an Eva. Got the coffee ready. Eva got the groceries put away and up or refreshed her Dr. Pepper. And refresh. Already a week into September. How's everyone doing? Good. It's better than summer. Gotta admit. How about you? Well, other than
well, child TDM, the dramatic Mary, is recovering from surgery. Her face is still swollen, and she's having like complete numbness and lack of movement in the left side of her face.
it's not.
And they said that could be a side effect of the surgery because the way they have to like stretch the face and like peel half her face off to get to the joints to replace them. They said it should heal. We should know in a month or two if it's going to heal, and if it doesn't, she's just stuck like this.
Mm,
Because the exercises that I did for my stroke will not help her. So we're
oh,
waiting. So yeah, but she does say hi to everybody. Thank you for all the well wishes. She took me to the beach,
nice.
and it was so nice. And we got shells, and I got caught in a rip current and hauled down the beach like half a mile in like 5 minutes. But
Yeah.
because I grew up on the Gulf Coast, I know, you swim. I know how to swim out of them, and I just like it was like I was floating on the water between the places where the waves break, and then I could feel like a little tug, and as soon as I felt that tug, I was like, oh crap. And so I went to sit up, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty far offshore, and look, my daughter is way down there. And so I just
Mm,
cross current. I just like body surfed cross current across back to shore. And my son-in-law, I was like, we need to go in from here. Follow me. And so we went, and he's an Alabama boy, so he's from the Gulf Coast too. So we just like swam out of it, and it was like, wow, we are really far down the beach. And so we just walked back, but it was just like, it was like there was somebody that like they were like trying to go they were going to go out, and I just told them, I'm like, don't go more than 20 feet out
mm-mm.
because we started off down there about 10 minutes ago and the current carried us here.
Mm.
But yeah,
I'm
no, it
glad
was
you were safe. You knew what to do.
yeah, but if you do if they had signs and stuff as we were approaching the beach that said, it's a rip current day. If you do not know how to swim diagonal across out of a rip current, if you don't know how to body surf, because you have to stay on the surface to stay out of that current, to get out of that current, to ride the waves out of that current. If you don't know how to get out of a rip current, please don't get in. If there's those warnings are up, do not get in the water more than past your hips.
Yeah.
You will drown.
Yeah.
You cannot swim against that kind of a current, and you cannot wade against that kind of a current.
Yeah. It
So
will
be safe.
Yeah. There's a reason why they're called rip. They rip you off your feet. Time is flying by too fast. Cat Paw says morning.
Totes agree, Mal. This year, just 2025 needs to take off its track shoes, sit down, put its feet up.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is like, remember back in like the first week of February, we were like, oh my God, what is this day 700 of 2025? Because 2025 just seemed to be crawling.
Yeah. Now it's playing catch up.
Now it's like, it's that little jogger emoji.
Yeah. Yeah. Eva says I have surgery soon, so time can slow down, and then after the surgery, it can maybe speed up until I feel good. There you go. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, it was. It wasn't too awful bad. There was one point where I was pretty sure a tornado was nearby just because of the lack of sound and the sounds that were happening. Because I've been through tornadoes before, and Kona was like trembling in my arms, and I'm like, can I lift her?
Can I carry Kona? Well, that would be a good place for us to start today. How much environmental knowledge do you put into your stories to make it sound real versus how much is too much and it just becomes like the old man in the sea? What is it? There's like an 8-page section on the weather that just goes on and on and on forever.
Yep.
It goes on forever.
Yeah.
Hi, Cat Paw. Are you avoiding the weather down at your end of the world?
Bring on
around the belt of the world.
Summer and heat. It was 107 in the house. No. That's
and she lives where there's humidity.
Yeah. I can't.
I've had the house at 100 degrees in Colorado. When we lived in the old house, and we only had air conditioning in like 2 rooms, and we were having brownouts because of the power demand of the city. And yeah, I've had, but that's a dry heat, which is very different from humidity heat.
Yeah. Dry heat you can relatively breathe in until it gets to a certain point.
Until it gets to where you inhale and the air is so dry that your nose just bleeds.
Yeah.
And like we have days like that out on the prairie where the humidity drops below like 10%. I had a weather monitor that I had set to alarm when the humidity dropped below 10%. And I would go out and I have these mister sprinklers, and they're like in my trees, and I just turn them on. And everybody's like, why are you wasting water like that? It's just evaporating. I'm like, I'm keeping my trees alive, because when the air is blowing and it's that dry, it's like a hair dryer.
Yeah,
and it just cooks all the moisture out of everything that's above the ground. And like, people don't believe it, but it's like, I've seen my corn stalks literally go dry from the ground up in the weather like this in like 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't. Yeah, you gotta take care of your stuff, because I mean you live off of that. So, but anyway, how much knowledge to put into your books? I would say, just like everything else, don't info dump.
and make it like relatable to something. Refer it as relatable, because people in different climates don't realize how extreme the climate
Mhm.
change is. Like me, like I am dying right now because I live at 6,000 feet. So I'm used to this nice, dry, light
Morning.
air. I mean, it's not as light as when you like go up one of the 14ers or you go to Leadville that's at 10,000 feet. You know, you get up above that 9,000 foot ceiling up where the alpine level is. You know, I'm used to lighter, drier air. I've got an extra mile, a mile extra of atmosphere on top of me. And I'm like, why is there so much air?
And in that mile, there's so much moisture that that mile feels like six.
And how and so much humidity and
Mhm.
pollen.
Yeah, the pollen. Oh my gosh, the pollinating is happening again.
Oh, and and how do you people live with like mold and mildew growing on the sides of building, growing on the sidewalk, growing on parked cars?
So there's this thing called, you have to take it all in order to build a immunity to it. That's the reason why there's still mold built going on cars. That's our way of building the immunity, which it doesn't work for me anyway. Hey Rita, thank you. So much air.
Yeah.
The winter felt
And
warm in Denver till it
well,
didn't.
it's like I've tried to describe, like I grew up in Southeast Texas, so you know I'm sitting here complaining about all of this, but the truth is it doesn't bother me that much because I grew up in the piney thicket. I grew up in the piney woods of East Texas, where the trees are so close together that you have to, if you are standing far enough between the trees, you can look up and see the sky, and that's the horizon. Okay, it's just there's and you want to talk about humid, that trees will hold humidity, like,
Mhm.
and it's like, yeah, it's a little cooler in the woods, but the air there, that it gets thick. And it's like, you know, I was trying to describe a shimmer day to someone once because we have shimmer days in Southeast Texas, and it's a Gulf Coast thing. I don't know if you guys have them out here, but it's
Every
where
now and then.
the temperature is like above 98 degrees. The humidity is hanging out between 98 and 100, and the
Mhm.
sky is not blue. The sky
Mhm.
is like silvery, shimmery. When you look out, everything has this weird, fairy, iridescent quality. And you
Mhm.
just know when you look out at that, you're like, I'm about to step in the sauna. Don't even put on my makeup. Don't fix my hair. I'm just going to leave my curlers in and I'll take them out when I get to where I'm going. Because the minute you walk outside, it's like, bleh.
Yeah. We call them bacon days, and well, where I grew up, because it's like baking in an oven. So they were bacon days.
It's like being in a rice steamer. That's what I imagine.
Mm,
Like if you got shut in like a rice steamer or a zanglong, a dumpling steamer.
yeah. Let's see. I would die of an anaphylactic shock. Yeah. So there's a reason why I have 4 EpiPens on me updated at all times. Because I never know, especially when we were house hunting, because I never knew what kind of house we were actually going to look at, and when we opened the door, what we were going to find. So we always had 2 EpiPens on us whenever we were house hunting because I'm allergic to everything green.
Yeah. Oh, Rita, I have a brand new rescue inhaler, and I have in the 10 days, 12 days that I've been here, I have sucked halfway through the 200 doses.
Hmm.
Like right before I got on stream, like when I woke up like an hour ago, I took a Benadryl, I took an Allegra D, I took 2 hits off of my inhaler,
Mhm.
brewed myself a cup of mint and eucalyptus tea, took a eucalyptus bath, and so I could talk. Because
Yeah.
normally I sound like I should be asking for your paperwork, Mike Wazowski. So yeah,
Yeah, that's basically my daily routine. So my daily routine is I get up, I do my allergy drops, I do my allergy nose spray. I take 3 allergy meds, which is a decongestant, anti-mucus, and antihistamine. And then every now and then I have to go ahead and hit my inhaler, but most of the time I don't. And then I drink something hot in order to get all that junk out. So yeah, that's my morning routine. And then halfway through the day, if I'm still congested, I take another decongestant. Yeah. So the outside wants to kill me, but it's okay. I live here. I love it. Somehow.
yeah, that's the thing about living on the high prairie is like, um, in the spring it's the trees, in or it's the grass. In the fall it's the trees,
Hmm.
and then the rest of the year it's like, and I had really bad allergies the last 2 years because my neighbor, like a mile up the road, decided he was going to seed a half mile of clover. Okay, that was a rude gesture, but yes. And you know what? Every time the hail comes through and pounds his crop into the ground, I have this sadistic happiness that just fills my little petty soul.
Veggie burgers use edible mold in them. Yep.
Tarula yeast extract. Tarula yeast is a type of candida fungus that is hybrid to produce excess amounts. They have tweaked it. So it normally produces the monosodium glutamate salt molecule as part of its metabolism. So they genetically engineered it to sweat, poop, pee, and vomit MSG. So they can now grow MSG in a vat and have organic monosodium glutamate. And technically it is, but there is no difference in the salt molecule. It is still monosodium glutamate. So
Oh
if you are
yeah.
allergic to or sensitive to monosodium glutamate, anything that's labeled as organic but says that it has yeast extract in it has MSG in it. The only difference is it's grown in a vat, dried and powdered, instead of chemically produced in a vat, dried and powdered.
Yeah.
So, and that was the basis for me writing the entire "How to Become a Crazy Cat Lady to Survive This Apocalypse," because freak you, FDA. My safe food list, when Obama's administration, the head of the FDA, took $100 million to approve this organic food
Mm-hmm.
additive, my safe list went down from a few thousand foods to less than 2,000 foods that I can actually purchase. Thank
Yeah.
God I can cook. I mean,
Yeah.
God.
Mm. All right.
We didn't
So
have organic poison.
yeah,
I wrote
organic
a
pork.
whole I wrote a whole zombie apocalypse novel about it because I was so pissed.
And it's not just belladonna or wolfsbane or uh shoot. Um is it forsythia roots?
For Cynthia Roots, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be very careful which of the um anything in that family
Mm-hmm.
people use, that people have no idea. They use so many plants for landscaping
Yeah.
that if you scrape the plant or you chop the roots up and boil the roots in something, yeah, you can kill people.
Oh yeah. Even the
Yeah.
medicinal herbs can become poison if used enough. I mean, look
Yeah.
at sassafras, for instance. It's
Well,
used for stomach problems,
yeah.
but it can
But
tear you up
it's
if you use too
it,
much.
and it's a blood thinner. People don't
Yeah.
realize it's a blood thinner.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's and and if you're on blood thinners and you're eating a lot of like green smoothies and kale and stuff like that, you might as well not be on the blood thinners, because that stuff is thickening your blood. Congratulations. And it's like,
Mm.
if you have a heart condition, please, 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 if you are on blood pressure medicines and you feel tired because of the blood pressure medicines, don't start taking the ginkgo ginseng B vitamin complex energy things, because those are counteracting to that.
Yeah.
This is not medical advice. We are not medical. For any medical, I am no longer working in the medical profession, so I cannot give you medical advice. Just please, before you take anything, make sure they don't interact with what you're already taking and
Yeah.
what symptoms you have, because you could be making your symptoms worse by taking an organic cure or a pharmaceutical cure for something that is for something else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. This
um,
so
drugs.com, uh, since I am no longer a pharmacy tech and I can't get to like the official site, but drugs.com is pretty good about giving you medical interactions, even with herbs and natural things with
yeah.
actual medications and stuff. So at least search that.
Yes, please. Yes, please. And
Uh,
for the love of God, do not try these online pink salt, cider vinegar, and baking soda Baelish cures.
mm-mm, mm-mm,
They are super salts. That's why they work as a laxative.
mm-mm.
And if you have kidney issues, liver issues, colon issues, or blood pressure issues, please don't use, please don't. Having a thin body, yeah, don't. I've reported, I don't know why I started getting those ads. I guess because of my age demographic, but it comes up tagged in my foodie, because I have selected the type of ads I want. I want foodie ads. Give me recipe ads. Give me cooking show ads. Give me restaurant ads. I get these freaking diet ads. I'm like, do
No.
I look? I'm not going to do this. Talk to your doctor. Honey, you're in menopause. Okay,
Mm.
estrogen goes down, cortisol goes up. You get a bunch cake around the belly button.
This is a writer's chat.
This is a writer's chat. We are rambling. I'm sorry. I'm so stoned on allergy medicine right now. I don't have sense. No, okay. But see, this is the thing. These are things. So these are environmental things. Like when you're writing a book, you're writing about, you know, your characters don't exist in a white room. The world is not a white room. Is there wind outside? Is there ambient noises? Is there a scent? Are there flowers that catches a? I mean, you don't have to make a big statement like, okay, in the Wild and Enemy Breakery, do I spend several sentences to a paragraph sometimes talking about the characters enjoying the ambience of the Wild and Enemy Bakery, or missing that the smells and the sounds, and
Mm.
you know, the fact that you can literally taste the red velvet cake and coffee in the air when you walk in.
Yeah.
That's you don't have to have that in a bakery. In Relic of Time War, Caliph is a gourmet chef because thank God Daisy destroyed his kitchen 11 times. Um, and fun fact, boiling eggs without boiling water turns into egg bombs, and those things stink. Charred boiled egg is like the worst, one of the worst smells. Um, so yeah, feel free to add these things, because I've read several books recently where it's like every 20th to 50th page they will talk about the environment,
Mhm.
and other than, if somebody changes clothes or something, that's all or if there's a battle scene or a conflict, something like that, sometimes you get the environment, sometimes you just get the hand-to-hand combat. I mean, PvP is great, but Are they fighting in space? Are they fighting in, if they're running through the forest, have someone freaking run into a tree or looking over their shoulder, because that happens. And as someone who grew up playing Sweet Gumball Wars, yeah,
Yeah.
when you're running, you look over your shoulder, you look back, and it's like boink.
Yeah, there's something there. There is always something there. The tree moves in your way, even if you didn't see anything there.
Even if you thought you had or the ivy will jump up and grab your ankle.
Yeah.
You're running through the English ivy and
Hmm. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or
And
suddenly a tree
briars. Oh
branch
my
or,
gosh.
or a tree branch will drop down on the trunk of the tree, and you did not duck low enough to get under that tree branch.
I forget who it was, but
Rachel,
it was
boink.
somebody.
Yes, boink.
Uh, somebody came up to visit us, and I forget where they were from, but they were like a long distance cousin. And we were running through was doing our usual thing, and for some odd reason they thought it would be okay to go through a briar, thinking that they could just run through it. And I'm like, they were in the middle of it, like directly in the middle of it. They were caught. Their clothes were like all ripped and everything, and their like face was pulled back and everything. I mean, they were so
Oh
cut up. And I'm like,
no.
dude,
Oh no. We
that,
can all laugh because those of us who grew up in that environment have seen someone do this. I myself ended up hanging upside down in bull vines one time. I was riding down a steep hill in bikes, and I crashed, and I got like thrown off the bike into the air and ended up like hanging upside down in the bull vines with like the thorns.
yeah.
So yes, I
It
can laugh at
happened.
you. I can laugh at them because I lived that. Yeah, no.
Mhm. And okay, here's another thing that gets me. So I've read a couple of books where people go to help clean up after tornadoes. And they're running chainsaws and they're cutting these trees. And not in any of them that I have read have they had a tree turn on them and bounce up, because tornadoes twist trees.
The
And if you're
wood
cutting
gets
them, you can't
hot.
see that.
And
Yeah.
and the other thing is when you're cutting through debris like in a scenario like that, the reason people, they're like, oh well, why don't they just get some backhoes and dig through it? Yeah, there's a reason. It's because you don't know where the space is that a person or animal might be trapped in. And
Mm-hmm.
if you shift the debris pile the wrong way, you just killed that living thing. You
Yeah.
just crushed their chance of survival because you flattened them like a pancake. And
Yeah.
they're, at the boards have to be moved. And the other thing is, they like, oh my God, the house, they go running down the street with wires laying everywhere. Contrary to popular belief, if you see power lines down, that doesn't mean anything,
Mm-mm.
because power lines on the ground, there is no guarantee that one of those, and it only takes one line to be live. And if the other lines are touching it, then everything touching that is now a live wire.
Yeah.
And
And water. They don't, nobody writes about how water affects down power lines and affects the people walking in that water to get to the down power lines. I mean, yeah. And I know
yeah,
that's like nitpicky, but that's stuff that you kind of need to think about, because people like me who read your book and know, oh, yeah, no, they'd be dead.
well, it's like I saw this thing that said that fiction is teaching people how to live in the world. And it's why people get stupid ideas like, I can do CPR on a child the way you would do it on it as an adult. No, you cannot.
Mm-mm.
I can do CPR on my cat the way they do it on a person. No, you cannot. And it's, yeah, thank you, Eva. Um, so if you're gonna like, if you're teaching someone something in fiction, please be sure that it's accurate, because Boiling belladonna does not make it safe to eat. Cooking sprouted grains, some of the grains you can eat, some of them you cannot.
Yeah.
Um, um, we make. You've seen Sam and I and Rachel making jokes about floating eggs. You know, please float your eggs. Dear, for the love of God, float your eggs. You do not want salmonella. As someone who took care of a patient who died of salmonella poisoning, you don't want to die that way. Yeah,
No.
just and another thing is like we were talking about the riptide in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Have realistic things about the water, the pull of the waves, the pull of the thing. If you're using a river, be aware that it is a very rare river that you just float the top along. Most rivers suck you under, roll you, slam you into things. Um, it's terrifying. It is terrifying how dangerous things like water are, how fast a flash flood will come up,
Mm-hmm.
how fast a um, wildfire. Well, you've all seen my Pagosa Cliffs books. Those of you who know it, I write how to escape these things, how to survive these things. I write these things happening. If there is a wildfire within 10 miles of you, you need
Go.
to leave.
Yeah. You need to get.
Even if the wind is blowing away from you, you need to leave. My Jenny is finally starting college for a meteorologist. One of her classes is environmental disaster studies. She
Mm-hmm.
just wrote a paper on what was called the 117 fire. Now the thing with it started at mile marker 117. This guy was hauling a trailer that was dragging a chain. The chain bounced, fell off the trailer, started dragging. The sparks coming off the chain started a 5-mile long fire line, which,
Mm-hmm.
fed by winds coming off the mountains, pushed it out onto the prairie at a forward speed of 32 miles an hour. That is faster than most animals can run at a full gallop, way faster than a human. And literally, literally, the ranchers and the locals, we were just cutting fences and herding the animals as fast as we could move them away. I mean, the herds we had, it took 3 months to sort the herds
Yeah.
after this fire that lasted for one day. It was
Mm-hmm.
moving so fast that they had medical patients, that one of the volunteer fire brigades, they literally cut all the trees around from their down from around their house, because out on the prairie, one of the things the homesteads do is you have trees growing around your house to provide shade.
Right.
They cut the trees down, drug them away with pickup trucks, and literally they backed the water truck up to the house, and the fire department stood in a ring around the house. And they held the fire because the lady was on hospice and could not escape.
Oh God.
Helicopter pilots, for the rescue helicopters, for the air ambulances, they were literally stuffing as many people and even pets into these helicopters, calculating the weight and flying these at max weight
Mm-hmm.
in 60-mile-an-hour winds to get people out of the way of this fire.
Yeah.
So, when you're writing this, like there's a scene um, in The Windflowers where, and in Winds Over Pagosa, where um, the wind, they talk about there's a storm coming in, and they talk about the fire stands up and comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a real thing that happens. So if you're writing these like things with the environment, do at least do your due diligence, because you don't want to tell somebody that somewhere in the future they'll like, oh, well, I read this once, and then God forbid they do it and get themselves killed.
Right.
You may never know this, but yeah, it's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's a great channel. I love her. Is it poison or a snack? She does TikToks, and her reels are on Facebook and Instagram, and she's like, poison or a snack, and she'll show you like two berries. Which of these can you eat? Which of these will make you die? I love her to death. Oh my god. Yeah. What Mel says, in nature, if it can happen, it will.
Exactly.
And you know, you don't have to be under the thunderstorm for the flash flood to kill you.
No.
You can be 20 miles from the thunderstorm.
Well, look at what happened during Helene with the mountains. I mean, those landslides started up top the mountain, and then they came all the way down,
Yeah.
miles, miles. Yeah, no,
You
you're
know,
not safe anywhere.
avalanches don't just happen in snow country. Lahars don't just happen in volcano country. Anytime you have a landslide, you have a large volume of dirt, of particulates and moisture, and it's moving, and it becomes this self-propelling thing
Mm-hmm.
until it hits something that makes it stop moving. You cannot resist it. Look what happened in Texas a few months ago. All of
Yeah.
that stuff in East Texas, those rivers rose 35 feet. 35 feet in an hour.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
great.
the rain wasn't even falling there. And then you have like what happened in China over the summer. Um, the water rose 20, 30 feet overnight, but it's because they were opening the spillways on the dams to try to keep the dams from fracturing, because they were getting an abnormally heavy monsoon season and all of their reservoirs overtopped. And
Mm-hmm.
they use those dams for hydroelectric power. So
Mm-hmm.
they literally have a few 100 million people relying on 300 or so dams for power.
Yeah.
And the only choice was to save the power grid, to save the cities. They had to open the dams full bore, and like everything that was, all the villages,
Mm-hmm.
tens of thousands of people are missing
That's
and presumed
yeah.
dead. And
Yeah.
the government is trying to, unfortunately, the government doesn't, they don't have our free media. So, they're saying, oh, only like 40 people died. And it's not true. I know from a friend of mine in Guangzhou Prefecture, around Guangzhou, that she and her brother went out after their cars were washed away and started digging through these piles of cars caught in by this bridge, and they stopped counting at 40 bodies. People that tried to
Mm-hmm.
escape the floods in their vehicles and got swept away. And
Mm-hmm.
the authorities came and they said, "Go back to your apartment. You didn't see anything. You didn't do anything." And they were like, "We cannot." She's fortunately sixth. They were on the sixth floor, so we're relatively safe. But it's like they're like, we're gonna hike out. We got to get to our grandparents because nobody's heard from them for like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So they did, and yeah, I haven't heard back from them. I don't know if they made it. I don't know if their grandparents' village is still there. I do know they were pretty high up on the mountain though, so hopefully, yeah,
Oh.
they're pretty high up. So hopefully they were okay. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it's just like, when these disasters happen, people don't realize. You see all the dramatic clips of buildings being washed away and stuff. What you don't realize is there's probably people in those buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get caught in that debris when it's coming down a river, when it's coming down a flash flood, when it's in a landslide, there is no just, there is no getting out of it. You just have to.
Yeah. And there's no really swimming either, because you are fighting not only the tide, the pull, but whatever is in that water hits you.
Yeah,
It slams into you. Whatever that water is flowing towards, you hit. I mean, it just yeah,
yeah,
it's not as easy as it looks.
yeah.
Um,
This
so
is
this right here is important because a lot of people when faced with emergencies, they blank. They
It's
don't know what to do. The panic takes over.
you can train as medical people. Dawn is in the chat too. As medical people, you can have all the training in the world, and there's a thing they teach you. They tell you, do not work on your own family members
Yep.
unless you can compartmentalize and shut off all of your emotional responses. This People, like, they get the family member's blood on them. I've seen people literally just stare at their hands,
Yep.
and it's like, what are you doing? Get me a towel, I have to pack this wound, and they're just like,
Mm.
it's when my grandfather had a heart attack. I literally had that 60-second I that was the that I was 18 at the time, and I froze.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who is like, at that point in my life, I had already been volunteering with my parents and doing EMT runs since I was like 12 or 13 years old.
Mm.
But when it was my grandfather, I froze.
Yep.
And it's like, it, yeah, it's a yeah.
Mm. Even if it's not an emergency, like with dad, me taking care of dad, I know the lifts. I know how to pick up people without hurting myself and without hurting them. But for some odd reason, all that left me in March and April. And it was like I reverted back to before I knew how to do the lifts. And it was my brother who had to remind me. And it was like, holy cow, I knew this. Why? Why?
Yeah.
Because dad fell and I couldn't get him up. Dad was 205 pounds at the time. So he's a big man, you know.
Yeah.
But if I had just remembered, I probably could have got him up.
Yeah. See, like
So
Don says, everybody's standing around, and the person with the training just starts. You turn into a drill sergeant, and you're like,
yeah,
you do this, you do this, you do this, and
mhm,
literally say their name and assign the task. And
yeah,
that's something that doesn't happen in fiction. I do like that there are some writers that in recent years have been writing things where they will write, a character will be watching someone die and they will freeze,
mm,
or they will have that complete moment of or after the death they'll be like, nope. And they're like, why aren't you grieving? And they're like,
it's shock.
it's you know people. And the thing is people function different ways through the levels of grief. They function through the different levels of disaster in different ways. There are people who just shut it all off and go, and there are people who just, they stand there and just stare at the catastrophe, like, and they're like not even able to save themselves, or they just, the fight or flight.
It just takes, yeah, yeah, and same people in the same family having the same environmental issues and the same way they were raised, they still react differently. Um, my brother, sister, and I, all three of us react differently.
When I was 11, my brother broke his arm. He was 5 at the time, and I went completely calm. I got him in the house, checked to make sure the blood flow was okay, because my parents, my dad was an EMT and a teacher, and my mom was a nurse. So we had literally grown up with this kind of training. And it was one of my parents' bragging rights is, look, my children know first aid at a very young age. So I did everything I was supposed to do.
Mm,
Um, my sister became so hysterical that I did the thing you're never supposed to do, and I literally slapped the F out of her. Slapped her hard enough to knock her on the ground and just said, "Stop screaming."
mm,
Because she was set we it was there was a whole bunch of kids at the house and we were screwing around, and she was setting off everyone else into panic
yep,
because she was panicking.
yep.
And yeah. But so you know, it things like this having things like this add authenticity to your thing. Having someone who just barely avoided a car accident and now they're like stopped on the side of the road shaking, or they're so mad that they're white knuckling the steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
That might seem like purple prose, or like there are some editors that I've encountered that are like, this has no purpose being in this story whatsoever. Well, you know what? It makes the character relatable. It
Yeah.
makes the situation relatable. Maybe they're not in a car, maybe they're in a starship, maybe they're on a boat and in the middle of the ocean and they just avoided a fire on the boat and everyone's kind of having that, oh frick, we almost all died moment.
Mm-hmm.
That adds authenticity to your characters.
Yep.
Do you need to carry on with it for 8 pages about the shapes of the waves and the color of the sky and the cry of the seabirds? No, no, you do not. But one sentence, 2 sentences
Mm-hmm.
gives your writing, gets your first of all, it gets you out of white room syndrome, it gets you out of paper doll syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
and it creates this environmental feeling for your book that is more immersive to the readers.
Yeah. Also, a good way to think about how much to put into a scene, how much description to put into a scene, is take a look at your scene, take a look at the pacing. If it is an accident, you know the pacing is quick. So 1 or 2 words, 1 or 2 sentences, tops. Everything else is the action. If it's a long drawn out scene, like they are traveling through a forest on a slow horse and the mule has, you know, hasn't been shod in a year, then yeah, you can kind of wax poetic for a little while, like a paragraph or so, and then go on. But just kind of keep the pacing in mind too. Um, Pacing is what's going to keep your readers interested, and yeah, just keep that in mind. So this right here too, you can have people as anxious as Eva and me, I guess, too. Always been the one during emergencies that have been calm, but it's the bracket around those emergencies where we are like squirrels and we're hyperactive and everything sets us off and everything can cause us to panic or to be anxious or something like that. But during emergencies, we're good because we deal with that all the time. We deal with that high pace. We deal with that worry. We deal with that panic all the time. So it's usually the people who have diagnosed panic disorder that are the best during an emergency.
And here's the thing, people who are like me who compartmentalize,
Mm-hmm.
that comes out eventually. And
Mm-hmm.
it's usually the worst possible moment. It's like, unless you're a compartmentalizing person who has trained yourself to have your panic attack, have your emotional breakdown after the fact in a controlled thing, you can have somebody that is as rock steady as Gibraltar. They are right. They are always right like that. And then something will happen and a switch will just flip and they'll be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
react. Or they'll be like just suddenly sobbing hysterically and everybody's like, what is wrong with you? And they're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My dad was the calmest person everybody knew. Everybody who ever met my dad, nothing ever surprised him, nothing ever scared him. He was solid. And there was one time in my entire life that I ever saw him pause and have to take a minute before he made action. And that was when mom fell and broke her hip. That was the only time. Because he thought that she was gone because she also hit her head and there was blood coming out. Because you know how fast these bleed. And that was the only time I ever saw him pause and have to take a minute. So yeah, it happens. Hmm. Yeah, what is this called? It's almost like empathetic, but there's another word for it.
Yeah, it's people who have highly active imaginations. Sometimes if they read something, that this is why I will put trigger warnings in chapters on some of my overcomer books, because
Mm,
there are people who will read things and it's literally like they're experiencing them themselves.
yeah. Yeah, whenever I was training for EMT and stuff, and the one or two times that I went to a bad scene, I fell apart after. I mean, my body was like, okay, we got to eject everything to
Yeah.
get rid of that moment, you know? Um, so, yeah, using the environment helps pass the time. I don't know what today's combo really. uh, it was about how much to put into a scene, how much description to put into a scene with like weather and environmental stuff and knowledge about situations. How much of that do you put into your scene?
Yeah.
Okay. Eva says, how long does it take you to publish from finished, edited, ready to go draft to release date? It depends on what it is.
Depends on the book. You guys know I have that crazy 15-step process.
Mm,
Um, but sometimes, I mean, like, I got Cat Lady and Spartan. I both got them out in less than a year, going through all the rights and the rewrites and stuff like that. Relic of Time Wars. The majority was written in 5 years. The rewrites took 5 years for publishing and editing. So from first draft to publishing the final book, which I'm actually writing the post quel right now, it was a 10-year process.
mm,
Um, it it depends on the genre you're writing, the story you're writing, the tropes that you're writing. Um, Everyone looks at me and thinks I fast publish. I do not. People who fast publish are people who write to publish in a month to 2 months. 60. It's like this 30 to 60 day turnaround. That 7 day book chick, write your book in 7 days, 10,000 words a day. Um, a couple years ago, she was really popular, and she had several books come out. But the truth is her method is not sustainable because of the. I mean, yeah, if you're sitting at home, no children, no pets, you spend 10 hours a day in front of your computer, you can do this.
no, you can't.
Not sustainable. It's not sustainable for your mental health. Yeah, you need to go outside. You need to walk around. Sam, I love you, darling. I love you, but I'm no hero.
Hmm.
And Capture the Empress and the overlap, and you got so burnt out. Everyone in the chat, raise your hand if you were worried about Sam. Raise your hands. Let's see all those hands. Worried about Sam, and to see you get back into the My Husband Wants series, and how much joy you have in writing again, and how much
Hmm.
fun you're having with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Rachel and Dawn can tell you sometimes it takes 20 years.
yeah, exactly. Uh, so, point in fact, since Maggie brought it up, I'm No Hero took 5 years. It was my first book. So, I mean, that could be the reason there. Capture the Empress took 2 years. I'm
Three.
pretty sure.
You
Three.
were talking about it like 3 years before, because we were talking about the sisterhood, the two substitutes, and the real empress.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So that was three
I don't
years.
know how I remember that. I can't remember what I did yesterday besides go and get ice cream.
You're you're like my husband. You remember everything like that, but you can't remember the conversation we had 10 seconds ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all good.
I have I have Fane Brog.
The Bell Earth Witch was the one that took 2 years. Actually, it was okay. So the first time I wrote it was like 2 or 3 months, and then I stopped. But then when I started again, that added was 2 years. Um, but the My Husband Wants series, I'm still within the first year. I mean, I finished those first drafts in a month. Each one took 5 days. So yeah, granted they're novellas. They're not I'm No Hero size. If it was I'm No Hero size and I wrote that in 5 days, I wouldn't have slept.
Or eaten or anything else.
Yeah.
And you would have been talking very, very fast, dictating software.
Oh goodness. Yeah, going back. Masking. Yep.
Yeah.
Dawn says I've become very focused on the goal, which is to get the target taken care of. Rach says, for
See,
Eva's time frame, for me in an ideal situation, no chronic illness issues, hospitalizations, etc., I try to spend 2 to 3 weeks at most a month on each portion of a novel.
yeah. See, I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that. And there does come a point where you have to say, stop rewriting.
Yeah.
Stop. Because it's like every time I do an editing pass, I'm like, ooh, I could add this. Ooh, I could add that. And then sprinkles and frosting and little cookie crumbles and a little bit of this and little and that. And no, stop. Stop it.
Draft 1, Task 2, co-author edits, beta readers, revisions, editor revisions, formatting, marketing, release. Yep. Me has kids and pets, sits at computer for 10 hours, does nothing. Yeah. I have a pet. I have a husband, which, yeah. And I can sit at my computer for 10 hours, but do I half the time? No, because the brain is like, I need to do something else. So, yeah. Thank y'all for worrying about me.
All of us.
Oh, goodness. Um, I guess even, but I'm a correctional nurse, so a terrible bedside. You're fine. You're fine.
Pre-orders. I only set up pre-orders if I'm already done with the book. I got busted on that. I set the pre-order up like 2 months out and was waiting for one last set of beta/arc readers to get back to me. And then no one got back to me because 2020s, yeah,
Yeah.
2020, 2021, 2022, 20, those years sucked. And I understand. I understand people have stuff blowing up in their lives, but I had to bump the pre-order, and Amazon punished me, and I couldn't do another pre-order for a year. So lesson learned. So I did not do. I had to completely cancel the pre-order, and so Amazon punished me and took away my ability to do pre-sales for a year. So yeah, no, I don't do any pre-sales or pre-orders until um, I have those. I do sometimes if I am doing one and I have like because I have through my Ko-fi page that you can order books. And there were a couple of times that I went ahead and put the paperback live and ordered the paperback copies so I could get them and have like paperback copies on launch day because unfortunately like 3 different times Amazon screwed me and I did not have paperback copies on my launch day because Amazon if you order through Amazon from the paper prints from the author, like from their author page on Amazon, they will get that out to you in like a week. If you're an author on the back end, especially when they were having the paper shortage, it took 4 weeks. For 2 of the different Relic of Time books, I ended up waiting 4 weeks to get the print copies.
Yeah, no. Um,
So everything I do is through Amazon because of the three free ISBNs. I was talking to Shannon the other day, and it's if I bought ISBNs, it would be because I have 40 different books.
yeah.
Um, I have to have ebook ISBN. I have to have a paperback ISBN. I have to have a hardcover ISBN. So that bumps me up to 120 ISBNs. You also have to have an ISBN for each imprint. So if I were to go wide, so I'm looking at, um, we figured out it was like $1,000. It would be like $1,000 plus cover art to go across Kindle, Ingram Spark. There was one other one. Can't remember what it was. But yeah, I would end up dropping like $3,000 to go wide because the imprints all have to have their own ISBN.
Mm. I went ahead and I bought bulk 100 ISBNs from Yacht, just because, like you, I have over 50 books that I'm going to get, published, and
Yeah,
I'm going to do ebook, paperback, and I'll eventually do hardback on a lot of them. Kickstarter, hopefully. Uh, but yeah, so
yeah. So bye, Rita.
the have fun.
Um, if you haven't caught Armchair Chats with Rita, I think she's going to be moving the old ones from her from her overall channel to her new author channel. So yeah,
Okay.
I put a link in earlier in the chat. Follow Rita's new author channel. Um, but yeah, um, there's so many things to consider when you're doing the actual physical copies,
Yeah.
and having those is great. You can sell them through like your Ko-fi shop or something like that. Um, it's just um, it's crazy. Sometimes though the backlogs that get you know pushed off on the indie authors,
Mm.
and I'm hoping that Amazon doesn't go through this thing where they're going to start like to order author copies. You have to order 5 at a time,
Yeah, that's just no. You
and
only need one to mark up. I'm sorry.
yeah, and Miss Ocampo writes. We all know her. She ordered her author copies, and they sent her proofs instead of author copies. So she ordered a whole box, and she got the do not sales on. She was unboxing them. Her book looks great. Her book looks great, and um,
Mm.
I'm happy for her that she got her book copies, but she's gonna have to switch them out. But yeah, I'm happy. It's holding that print copy is such an
Yeah.
endorphin hit. And you all saw my video a few months ago where I did the affordable ways to order printed copies,
Mm.
and I have the whip for draft, and then use the subtitle for the title of the book. That way, you're constantly changing the interior content, so
Yeah.
you don't have to get ISBN assigned to all these um, different stories that aren't ready to publish, because Amazon gets a little grumpy with you if you have all of these ISBNs assigned and nothing is being published. Ingram
Yeah.
Spark, that's the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh, Ingram Spark, Draft to Digital. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about using Draft to Digital next time for author copies because ordering from Ingram Spark. I mean, I ordered a case of this, and because of the holiday, I didn't. It's not for pre-orders or anything. It's just for me to have, so I can go around to all the bookstores and libraries eventually. Um, But yeah, it's taken 2.5 weeks now for me to get a case. So yeah. Anybody want a beta for Eva? Have to write a rhyming story, and it's fairy tale.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
I mean, you can feel free to send it to me. Um, I'll try to get it out right back out to you like same day or next day. Since I'm taking forever for everything else.
Is it children's? Is it children's? Eva writes children's stories.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've been at it for an hour. And since you're sitting outside, we can end it here.
I'm watching the battery of my. I will say though, it was very warm this morning when I was first like take the dogs out for the walk over to the little doggy area and stuff like that. And it is actually cool. It's getting cooler as I'm sitting here.
Hmm.
So like
it's toying with you.
it's like false fall.
Yeah, it's toying with you. All right. So thank y'all for joining us for another Breaking the Block episode. We will be back next Sunday, same time, same channel, same madness, chaos, whatever you want to call it. Do you want to do an outro?
Hey, baby puppy. Hello, lovelies. Mama Maggie Ward, independent author, stroke survivor. Sorry, people are walking their dogs to the puppy area past, and I'm like, oh, it's a little dog. And the dog was here a long time before the person, and it was just like, hey, how are you, human? Do you have a treat for me this time? And I was like, no, I don't have a treat for you this time. Yeah, what was I talking about? I am on so much allergy medicine.
Your outro.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have books for sale on my author page. Yes, 99-cent books for the whole month. I'm still in Virginia with all the air. Hopefully I'll be back home in a few weeks. Anyway, yes, books for sale. Working on my season 2 of The Moon is Waxing K-drama podcast. Pagosa Cliffs finished the Wind Quartet, both on Pagosa Cliffs Anemones and Pagosa Stars. If you're interested, check those out. Yeah, that's where I am. All the books, all the time.
Everywhere, all at once.
All at once. With allergy medicine and
Right.
coffee. Lots and lots of coffee.
All right. Like I said, thank you, everybody. Make sure to check out the links below. I will be fixing some extra links in the description box. And we will see y'all next Sunday. Bye.